Cool. So I left these markups from Wednesday, right? Because remember what we talked about Wednesday. I'm recording, right? Yep. Remember we talked about Wednesday that pretty much that we had seen a structure break. We had seen a structure break here, right? We gave an impulse to the upside, took a structure, came back, and filled inefficiency, gave the reaction, went to H1, right? Came back to 50% of inefficiency, right? So we built a narrative that this is going to continue higher because we're getting every excuse to buy. And guess what? From here, we gave a little extra pullback, but we sustained previous low, which is what matters. And from there, we gave an upside move. And it really looks like this isn't going to stop just yet, unless we get like a pretty significant structure break, which would probably be this low, to be honest, the low made Friday. And just to see where this would react. But I mean, when we're looking at EURUSD, it's so much more cleaner in the aspect that, hold on guys, can you guys hear that? No, you guys can't hear it. Can you guys hear anything in the background? Okay, cool. Yeah, my bad. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But like as we can see, EURUSD was a lot cleaner. And we actually, continued structure, continued everything, right? If we've been bearish the entire week, I don't expect to be bullish on Friday. I mean, just straight up. You pretty much have to sell until you have every excuse to buy. Yes, we have a 90% retracement. But like I said, when we get a 90% retracement from a previous high, if it stays and then it starts to retrace, cool, we can start looking for an impulse, for a reaction in discounted pricing to then take higher. But if the reaction is instant, then all it is a potential liquidity grab. And that just means that we will probably have a liquidity grab and then we have a mitigation play to then go lower. So it would be very likely to see this continue lower. And obviously we're still looking at many POIs. We're still looking at many POIs here. Where we're finally about to approach POI number 1 and POI number 2. So obviously we want POI number 2 because it makes more sense from, a swing perspective, right? We reach back there. We also come back to a previous structure point, and I'd like to see how it would react here, just because this is still a pretty steep retracement. But the other thing to realize too is like we gave an impulse and we're struggling to come down, right? So we have a 90% retracement as we, I'll say like 88%, 85, it doesn't matter, you get the point. And we're struggling to come down lower, right? And by struggling, I just mean it took a whole lot longer to come lower than it's taking to, pretty much the distance that it took to go higher. So let me see. In current price, I think it's pretty even actually. Around here. Alright, so up it was 143 bars, but then down 170 bars. So you see how we're struggling to come back lower? That just shows it's taking a lot of effort to, bring price down. And the issue here is pretty much how corrective we're starting to look. So depending on how impulsive, we get the pullback, or if we literally just come back to POI number 1 and then keep going, like it really, you just have to pay attention to structure here. It's very, very important, because if we start rolling over, right, and then the previous low is not sustained and we actually go above it, then maybe we'll try to play something to go higher. But it just really depends on what this does for open and what it does during Sunday, because Monday will probably be the start of, we're probably going to start seeing if it's either going to reverse or it's going to continue. I'd want it to continue just because, look at this weekly closure, right? Extremely bearish. So I would really love to see that previous structure point be tapped to then, fill inefficiency and then continue higher. And then we can finally get our target of 1.5 here. So I mean, that would look, I mean, that's pretty ideal to me. It makes every, sense in the world, but the only thing to consider here is how bearish these last 3 weeks were. Right? So the only way to pretty much eliminate the bearish bias here, because technically, even though we are at a pretty much a 90% retracement, right? This could be a higher low, and if we take out a previous low, then that's a wrap for that. Something to note too will probably be this month's closure. This month's closure closes in 10 days, right? And depending on how this closes, we're gonna see pretty much how the next couple months is gonna play out, and pretty much from a quarter perspective, it's looking pretty indecisive. Indecisive in the aspect that we don't know if this really wants to go up or this wants to keep continuing lower. Although if we continue lower, there really isn't a reason for me to want to buy anymore. We've pretty much covered every single thing we can cover, like to the left of price here. So if we actually continue lower, then we'll probably see 1.03, which is why I'll be holding, the sells that I have from not highs, but pretty much from, the intraday highs and the swing highs. I have one, but pretty much I'm just going to hold that to cover the previous buying positions that I have, just to pretty much make sure that in case this buy fails, from if we end up reaching a structure point and we go from there, or if this continues lower, I'm covered both ways. Right, so that's why I pretty much enjoy trading only 1 to 2 pairs, is because if I can essentially trap price, you can pretty much cover both sides of your positions without having any, with having minimal risk. And not only that, you're pretty much inclined to trade less, and you just wait and see to what happens and just play off what happens. Same thing for GU, except GU was a whole lot more impulsive than this, right? So we actually came back, tapped open to that, gave a reaction, right? So now it's pretty much this week we're gonna see if we're gonna take out the previous low, and the next point of interest would probably be the fill-in of inefficiency there. Although we tapped the pretty much relatively open there, we never even tapped 50% of this, I believe. Yeah, so with so much momentum coming through, I don't see this stopping unless we get a pretty, bullish closure. Where that would happen, honestly, if it doesn't happen anywhere here, then it's gonna fall. It's gonna take out this low here, which I'm kind of aiming for, to be honest, because looking at this from a swing perspective, right? We had a liquidity point there. We had a previous structure point here. We had a previous SC on the weekly here. So we took out liquidity, tapped potential an SC here, or even just filled inefficiency from the weekly, and from there, we pretty much pushed up with unsupporting volume, right? We then got an entry, re-entry, and now we're pretty much getting the full play to the downside, because we built the narrative that liquidity was taken, volume was declining, right? And we reached a weekly point of interest. So when we're seeing that reaction occur, right, if the follow through occurs, then this is going to be an easy target, and then this would be a crucial point here, because for all we know, this can just be a very bearish closure and we just continue lower. Right, so that's why I'm really waiting for these monthly closures, just to see what direction this wants to take for the next 2-3 months. Really hoping for bullishness, but still, it's like, trade what you see, not what you want. And yeah, I mean, this weekly was very bearish too, very impulsive volume, right? Even though it's not as big as the previous weeks, it's still very, very impulsive. As you can see, it's pretty much above the previous 2 months worth of data. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very, very interesting, right? In terms of momentum. right? Impulsive move down, corrective move up, potential continuation. But I'm not saying that's going to happen, because we still have to consider this from the aspect that we could be seeing a pre-supply, selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, right? Reaction, spring, and we're potentially looking at a potential LPS, right? Because usually the spring's behavior hold on, I'm gonna get this right. Right, the spring's behavior is meant to be an essential fake out, right? Selling climax, secondary test, whatever, spring, right? And then we have a corrective structure to assume continuation, right? But then fakes out. So I really want to see just what happens here. I want to see if this structure point is going to maintain itself or it's going to be broken, because that's the crucial factor here. If we break structure here and fill inefficiency, then I won't consider that a structure break. I'll just consider that a liquidity grab and that we're filling inefficiency. And now we have no excuse to not want to take this higher. So it's just a patience game from here. I don't know. I don't really see anything here that interests me, especially just because of how much momentum we're getting. But I really want to see how Sunday plays out, and then from there, I want to see what, pretty much dictate what would happen in between Tuesday to Friday. But yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty decent. But yeah, guys, is that making sense? Do you guys have any questions? All right, guys, does that make sense though? Am I making myself clear with that? Wrong button. All right, so from a structure perspective, it's just like this is looking very, very bearish, right? We've already pretty much assured bearish structure, right, by taking out that low, coming back into range, a bit into range premium, probably more so range equilibrium. But the more important part to notice here is the impulsive move down, right? And then that inefficiency fill here, which was the continuation play from the pair breakdown last night. And that is what gave the full reaction. It's probably, I think it's over 100 pips already. Yeah, 107 pips. But yeah, I mean, just looking left, nothing really interests me. Just looking here, obviously the only anything here would be trying to pick a low, right? That would be interesting. That would be interesting. This would be too deep to me. So this is pretty much the only areas of interest that would pretty much want me to, want to push higher. But the issue here to me is the weekly closure. It's just how impulsive it is, how bearish it is. There's no point in fighting that momentum just yet. We don't have an excuse to want to buy yet. So I mean, I don't really want to force that, and I'm gonna just keep playing my sells until I pretty much have a reason not to. But yeah, I mean, I really want to see what happens here if we reach down there. There's always a chance that this will reject one of those points I pointed out and continue higher, because at the end of the day it is considered a spring to an extent. And if the spring is valid and it's pretty much trying to fake out people there, then that'll make a lot of sense. But as far as, you know, trading based off concepts, it's 50-50. Yeah, I mean, honestly, outside of that, it's not really, I don't really see anything else. It's not really, like, there's really always the opportunity, not the opportunity, but there's always a chance that we really do only just come back into this previous inefficiency fill here. Because that point relatively matches with this previous high. So I'm prepared for both. I'm honestly prepared for both. I really want to see how this plays out. Because there's always, you can get that one, or we can get this one, which matches with previous high kind of right there. So it's very interesting seeing two POIs that are pretty much identical. But honestly, I just want to see how they react from each. And if they react decently, then I'll take risk. Let's see, we got 17 people. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a little lecture today. I do have a little topic. Let me send myself this video. Hold on. All right, let's see. Save messages. It's a pretty cool topic. I was thinking about it all of, I think, Thursday night. Let me see. Right here. Now, as soon as that's done sending, I'll put it up for you guys. But how's everybody's week though? Has everybody's week been good? I think I've gotten like 2 journals. I need to write on the second one. All right, cool. There we go.
Right. I did the surgery.
All right. So hold on. Can you guys hear that though? Can you guys hear what he was saying there? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just give y'all like a little backstory, and just listen to me here. Trust me here. Pretty much this guy here, right? So I'm a big UFC fan. I'm big on just fighting in general, just because it's a really cool, not only a really cool skill to learn, but it really helps you learn about yourself. It helps you pretty much develop in terms of just as a person growing and being mentally strong and physically strong, and just being able to collaborate both, and then collaborate movement types of different martial arts, etc., etc., etc. And then from there, I follow this guy. His name is Dominick Cruz. He's one of the, honestly, he's probably one of the best of all time to me. 5-time world champion, multiple organizations. He's the first one to win UFC's bantamweight, second one to win it too, but that's not the point. But pretty much, how I pretty much went through 4 knee surgeries. 2 were ACLs, 2 were meniscus tears, and pretty much he went through 3 consecutive ACL tears. Right, and when I saw this, pretty much this podcast episode, he was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about it, and there's 2 small clips that just resonated with me so much, because you can apply it to pretty much any type of aspect of life. So I just want you guys to listen. It's like 50 seconds long, and then I'll explain what I mean afterwards.
Right. I did the surgery. That wasn't the problem, though. That's my point. The problem isn't if you're doing all the things right to get better. It's understanding that I didn't need to fight to be better. Giving up on it was when I finally got better. Understanding I didn't need fighting to be who I was. My therapist, Gavin McMillan, he would say, you can do this, this, and this. Don't push it. I wouldn't push it. I would do the things aloud. But I'm telling you, like, that wasn't the issue. The issue was surrendering. The issue was knowing that fighting was the only way I was going to be happy then. It was being able to compete was the only way I could find peace. Being able to prove that I was as good as I always was, even after the injuries, became everything that I was trying to do. It was just a nonstop fight to just get healthy.
All right, so do you guys get what I mean with that video? What do you guys understand what he's trying to say with that video? Unless I could put it up again if you want me to, but you got to really read between the lines to listen to what he's saying. I'll actually be genuinely surprised if somebody can get it, like on the spot. Play it again. All right.
I did the surgery. I did the surgery. That wasn't the problem, though. That's my point. The problem isn't if you're doing all the things right to get better. It's understanding that it was understanding that I didn't need to fight to be better. Giving up on it was when I finally got better. Understanding I didn't need fighting to be who I was. Therapist Gavin McMillan, he would say, you can do this, this, and this. Don't push it. I wouldn't push it. I would do the things aloud. But I'm telling you, like, that wasn't the issue. The issue was surrendering. The issue was knowing that fighting was the only way I was going to be happy then. It was being able to compete was the only way I could find peace. Being able to prove that I was as good as I always was, even after the injuries, became everything that I was trying to do. It was just a nonstop fight to just get healthy.
All right, did y'all hear that time? You have to trust the process? No. No, think deeper. Think deeper. Listen to what he said. There's one word he said. I'm going to play it one last time, and I really want you to listen to what he's saying, and there's one word that stands out.
I did the surgery. That wasn't the problem, though. That's my point. The problem isn't if you're doing all the things right to get better. It's understanding that it was understanding that I didn't need to fight to be better. Giving up on it was when I finally got better. Understanding I didn't need fighting to be who I was. Therapist Gavin McMillan, he would say, you can do this, this, and this. Don't push it. I wouldn't push it. I would do the things aloud. But I'm telling you, like, that wasn't the issue. The issue was surrendering. The issue was knowing that fighting was the only way I was going to be happy then. It was being able to compete was the only way I could find peace. Being able to prove that I was as good as I always was, even after the injuries, became everything that I was trying to do. It was just a nonstop fight to just get healthy.
Does anybody hear the word? Surrendering. Exactly. So what did I say yesterday our topic would be for today? Yesterday I said today's topic would be over one thing. The topic, the conversation itself would be over one thing, and I said one word. Exactly, liberation. So, by liberation, you're pretty much surrendering yourself to the process and pretty much thinking bigger picture, not thinking greed. So pretty much my first 3 surgeries, every single time I did everything right. I worked every day for the sole purpose of getting back on the field. That was the sole purpose. Every day that I went to rehab, every day that I worked out was for the objective of getting back on the field, right? And each time I re-injure myself, I would be so pissed. I would cry myself to sleep for fucking weeks, days. Like the issue wasn't in terms of the injury. It wasn't the injury itself, right? It was the psychological breakdown that it brings upon oneself, right? And injury ain't shit, you know. Like if you're in your 20s, 30s, an injury really isn't shit unless it's a catastrophic injury. But even a catastrophic injury in your 20s, it doesn't really mean shit in terms of, you know, you're gonna recover eventually, right? But when you're in the mindset that all I want to do is get back on the field, you become obsessed with it. And yes, obsession is good, right? But there is a thing that's too much. So it was weird because this fourth surgery, although I'm not fully cleared yet, honestly, I've never felt better for any type of surgery ever. Like after surgery, I've never felt better. And pretty much this fourth surgery, I felt nothing. I felt no hatred towards anybody. I felt no hatred towards myself. I did the surgery. I shed no tears. Everything now wasn't for the objective of pretty much getting back on the field. The objective now was to be satisfied with being able to live an everyday life again, right? Because if I continue to have these surgeries, have these injuries, I'm looking at a very, very early knee replacement in life, you know? So my purpose went from pretty much changing my attitude from fuck everything, I'm going to focus on myself, I'm going to do everything I can to get back on the field, which is 100% okay, right? But it doesn't work for everybody. So I had to completely change my approach, and I didn't even change it manually. It happened like instantly, like not instantly, instinctly. So this time my sole purpose was to be healthy again, because I knew that being healthy again would make me happy again. And now I'm pretty much in a very, very good position in terms of physique, in terms of just how I am with rehab. And all of that came from changing my attitude, from being obsessed with getting back on the field and liberating myself and realizing that I don't need to play soccer to be happy in my life. Right? All I need in life is to be healthy and to pretty much be able to continue to do whatever it is I'm meant to do in this world. Right? So when you're looking at that, that's looking at it from an athlete's perspective, right? Now, from a trading perspective, right, everybody is here for one sole purpose. It is to make money. I don't care what you say. Everybody is here to make money. 100%. You're looking at this chart. You're executing on MT4. You're journaling. You're doing everything in your power to make money. Right? Or am I wrong? Because if you're in this to not make money, honestly, I think you're pretty high. Right? But just because you have the purpose of pretty much making money, that doesn't mean your sole objective is to make money. Why do you think you still have those blown accounts? Why do you think you're not seeing that success? Right? You have to liberate yourself from wanting to make trading your full-time income, and you have to make it step by step. Right? And pretty much changing your approach from solely going from this is going to be my full-time gig, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, right? Instead of that, change your approach to like, oh, this is a cool skill, I'm going to learn it and I'm going to see how it goes for me. You know, maybe six months down the road, you now make your first $100, and now that alone ties into appreciation, what we talked about, I think it was last week, because like I said, if you do something on the side and you make money from it, if that side money is not paying your bills, you know, you appreciate that because now you have extra money to either reinvest or buy yourself a nice little gift. Exactly. Do what makes you happy, 100%. And that's why I've never said that I ever want to pretty much either manage 9-10 figures. Never. I used to be interested in wanting to go into the fund world, but honestly not anymore. Just because I feel like that's me pursuing just straight bread, right? And if you really think about it, why would I want to manage 10 figures through a fund when I can easily get certain licenses get an 8-9 figure investor, or even build accounts to 8-9 figures, and majority of the profit comes to me, depending on contract constraints, right? But you get the point. And something that that's the key word. The key word is liberation, right? Because liberation pretty much relieves you of whatever demons is holding you back or holding you to whatever it is that you're doing. Right? So does that make sense? It took me 2 years to realize that.
Hey, bro, quick question
Yes, sir.
on this topic. Uh, for me, a lot of it. I was talking to Aaron about it last night. A big one for me, like you said, like we're all in it from. Yeah, I don't want to speak for nobody, but me personally, in it for money, right? Like, sometimes we get so caught up on that like we make emotional trades, or we over leverage or whatnot, and we you know, Anton Krill also says that you got to learn how to be indifferent from money, but like how do you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Be
easier said
indifferent.
than done.
So yeah, so the thing about money though is you shouldn't be tied to money, but you should appreciate money. Because also, let's say you make a let's say you make a you have a very good week and you get a 100 to 1 or 1 to 100, and you hold the whole time. You just doubled your account in a week. But now, if you have no ties to money, it's good that you can keep going, but you'll never pay yourself, and you'll never find pretty much that peak, that goal that you really want to get to, and you're pretty much now tied to the markets, if that makes sense.
Right.
So you have to detach yourself from money from an emotional standpoint, but you must appreciate it too, because that way, once it does come, you know what to do with it, or how to feel, how to act about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Lose attachment to money. Happiness and freedom are the real currency. Money is the tool to achieve that. Yeah. Right. But the hardest part is definitely losing attachment. How does one go about starting to detach oneself from money? Well, for one, don't try to rely on trading money. Make your bread somehow, and always let trading be a side income. 100%. I will never tell you to quit your job to trade. Can you do that? Of course. Do I recommend it? Of course not. Money is an enabler and money is an enabler and a catalyst. Yes, precisely. Yeah, and I mean also too, like majority of us in here, we're pretty fucking young. I'm pretty sure everybody in here is under 40, and even 40 isn't even considered old, which is why like I always tie appreciation to longevity, right? And now liberation ties to those two concepts. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to do what you love, straight up. Why do I teach, bro? I get so much satisfaction, like, out of seeing you guys grow as people. Like, one day I genuinely want to meet majority of you in here, right? And I know most of you guys are a lot of you guys are in Europe too. So I can't wait to start traveling there and all of that, because this, like, for example, that's the reason I teach, is because I love to do it. I like to do it, right? Does it get frustrating at times? Of course. What doesn't get frustrating at times? But at the end of the day, you guys know I play longevity, and longevity is everything. Right? So liberation ties to appreciation, and appreciation ties to, damn, I just had a brain fart. And appreciation ties to longevity. My bad. Right, so I hope you guys understood what I was pretty much trying to say with that. Right, liberation. That's the word that pretty much summarized that entire video. Right, and surrendering was the word that's actually inside the video. Right, surrendering yourself to the process, being straight up. Right, I don't want to say, because there's a difference between surrendering and becoming too, how do I say it, becoming too, like, becoming obsessive. Right, do I make sense with that, or am I losing some of you? Right, surrender yourself to the process, but don't become obsessive with the process. Right, I'm gonna do more research on that because that's a pretty cool subject. Liberation is just surrendering yourself. Like, a lot of, I mean, even in religion, I don't want to talk about religion, but people surrender themselves to whatever they believe in, and they experience a much happier life. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. I don't wanna get into that. But yeah, acceptance of oneself. Yeah, acceptance of oneself.
Yeah, I kind of want to add to that. I'm driving, guys, so. But anyways, like the accepting of oneself, right? Like, you're not gonna be. And this is the problem with like our current generation, is that we're all comparing to, we're comparing ourselves to someone else, and that's the thing. You're not gonna be like that other person, right? Like, so that's why Fredo doesn't want to be like a so-called mentor, because you're not trying to be like Fredo, right? You're not trying to, like, you're not gonna be like him. You're gonna be your own self. Um, so yeah, so that's the thing where you have to accept that fact.
I think I tweeted about that like 2 weeks ago. I said I think I reposted on Instagram. It was how did it go? It was a very big barrier to cross, when achieving your goals, is learning, is pretty much not even learning, but just acknowledging that you should be the first you and not the second version of your idol, or the second version of your mentor, or the second version of whoever you're following, etc., etc. So becoming oneself, adapting, right? Improvise, adapt, overcome. Adapt what we show, adapt what we talk about, make it your own. It's all about, in essence, it's all about you. But that's just some stuff to think about. It's a pretty cool topic. I fuck with it. It's a pretty cool topic. But it'll definitely get you thinking. Especially if you're pretty much, trying to listen in between the lines of what I'm saying. But yeah, guys, I'll probably end it there. That's pretty much like a 40-minute session. Yeah, about 40 minutes. But yeah, guys,